I'm Paul Zigo, and this here is Cinema for Cynics. Trying out a new persona for the show. Chauncey, what do you think? Well, fuck you too. Anyway, before we get into this review today, I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to check out my Patreon. A bunch of people have asked when and where that's going to be. So if you've got the chance, the link is down below. Go check it out. I'll be making a new video about this sometime in the next week or so, going through all the perk levels. But if you want to check it out early, there it is. Without further ado, and without further country guy character attempts, let's talk about The Shape of Water.
This may very well be the most sensitive asset ever to be housed in this facility.
You may think that thing looks human. Stands on two legs, right? But we're created in the Lord's image. You don't think that's what the Lord looks like, do you?
When you talk about Oscar buzz, this is pretty much the Oscar buzz film this year. It's got 13 nominations, and I have them written down here. I'm just going to read them to you. Best Picture, that's the big one. Best Actress for Sally Hawkins. Best Supporting Actress for Octavia Spencer. Supporting Actor for Richard Jenkins. Best Director for Guillermo... Fuck, I have so much trouble with his fucking name. Guillermo del Toro. There we go. I'm just going to call him Del Toro from now on, so I don't have to struggle with... Del Taco. Best Original Musical Score, Original Screenplay, Cinematography, Costume Design, Sound Mixing, Film Editing, Production Design, and Sound Editing. Pretty much runs the gamut. I was not expecting much going in to see it. I was expecting a kind of weird, offbeat romance movie, and that is what this movie is. But thankfully, it manages to be a whole lot more than that. It's a real genre-bending kind of movie. So it's a romance movie. It's kind of a retro, futuristic sci-fi film. It's a creature feature. It's a spy thriller. And it's a fantasy film. And it's all of those things kind of wrapped into one big package, which I guess could be a mess if it wasn't presented well. But thankfully, I guess it is. It all kind of congeals and works together to make a really, really interesting film. I love Del Toro. I love his eye, the Hellboy films, Pan's Labyrinth. I mean, I really love his willingness to kind of blend realism and fantasy and have them kind of juxtapose at different times during the movie. And there's a lot of that in this film. The story is basically, there's a mute woman. She's a janitor, and she works at some kind of government facility cleaning up after all the science projects. And one of those science projects arrives and happens to be a fish man. And she falls in love with the fish man. It's a really interesting way to present it. She's mute and the fish man can't speak either. So really the two central characters in the movie can't tell you what they're about. They can't explain what they're about, but they're surrounded by people that can't stop telling you everything that they're about. All of the supporting cast in this film fill in that blank of character development, leaving those two central characters mysterious and surrounding them with people that are decidedly not mysterious. Talking about the fish man in particular, he looked really familiar to me as soon as I saw him, not only the makeup, but the performance. So I looked into it when I got home, and it turns out the guy that plays the fish man, whose name is Doug Jones, also played Abe Sapien in Hellboy 2 and the Faun in Pan's Labyrinth, both Del Toro films. So this is a dude that Del Toro leans on a whole lot for these kind of physical performances, these kind of alien performances. I do think that in terms of supporting actors, there were a couple of snubs, possibly. The two villains, I guess, in the film both deliver really, really fantastic performances. Michael Shannon as Strickland and Michael Stuhlbarg as Dr. Hofstetler. It seems like they should have gotten a nod. At least one of them should have gotten a nod, maybe even over Richard Jenkins. He was great as Giles, but I really think that the two Michaels fill in the blanks that the movie has a lot better than he does. He's kind of a secondary comic relief kind of character. And these other two guys give way darker performances, and to see them not even really mentioned is kind of a shame. All of these Oscar nominations, all of this buzz, is it worth it? Is it worth your money to go see it at the theater? I think so. Yes, go see it. It was great from start to finish, really beautiful to look at. The whole movie is kind of draped in this heavy aquamarine kind of color, makes everything feel very watery. If you like Guillermo del Toro's other films, there's a lot more of what he brings to the plate in this movie. And I really think it is worth watching. Not the best movie I've seen in 2017, but definitely, I guess it earned a lot of these nominations. So if you get a chance, go see it. Check out the Patreon down below. Give this a like. Subscribe if you enjoyed it. Hit your alerts. Slap Chauncey in the face, and I'll see you next time.